Hi, I'm Stuart Carden, pronouns are he, him, artistic director of Kansas City Repertory Theater, and tonight we're going off script with The Old Man and the Old Moon.
I snuck from your window, and sooner was racing. I ran to the willow, followed the sun from the stone, followed the sun.
My name is Dan Weschler, and I am the music consultant for the show. So from the very first thing we did together, music was one of the main tools that we used to not just tell the stories, but kind of create the atmosphere for each of these stories.
I sooner was dancing when I saw your reflection in the wind chimes calling for the sun from the stone, for the sun from the stone.
The music for The Old Man and the Old Moon specifically is kind of Celtic tinged folk music, and it often serves less as, the kind of narrative engine of the story. There's not a lot of point of view songs or songs that tell you exactly what's going on. The music functions more like a soundtrack. I think we were really inspired by a lot of the films that we grew up on, and the way that music could kind of create this parallel emotional track to the story that you're watching. So yeah, there's songs sort of emerge out of storytelling moments to accompany them rather than tell you what is happening. The actors in The Old Man and the Old Moon do everything on stage. There's a ton of music, and there's a ton of Foley sound effects, and there's a lot of puppetry, and there's a lot of lighting effects, and it's all in the hands of the 7 performers who are up here on stage. So you'll often see somebody performing a scene while wearing, for instance, an accordion strapped to their chest, and then a song will pop out of that moment. So if you really scan the stage, there's really never a moment where pretty much everyone in the ensemble isn't engaged in something on stage, whether that be ringing a bell to accompany somebody going through a doorway, or quietly plucking a guitar in the corner, or doing a bit of shadow puppetry. Everybody's always part of the storytelling.
When I saw your reflection.
Well, I am mostly here to take all of the music that's published for the show and adapt it to the very specific and incredible set of talents that this ensemble has amongst the 7 of them. So, case in point, there's a bit of violin music in the published score of the show, but the person who would be playing the violin in the show doesn't play the violin. However, they do play the clarinet. So this production is going to be the debut of the clarinet as an instrument in The Old Man and the Old Moon, and we're very excited because already we've played it with a couple of songs and it sounds incredible. And then there's other things, just like vocal arrangements and getting just the spirit of songs across, and and working with everybody to find the best way to play their instrument and find their way into the score. If I were to boil it down, it's the feeling that people leave with, or at least tell us they leave with, which there's a quote from one of our friends who saw, I think, really the first version of this show, and they told us afterwards that all they wanted to do was go home and dream, and that was nice to hear, because I think more than anything, our shows spark people's imaginations and sort of get them invested in this kind of creative act, this sort of creative relationship to the theater that they're watching. So, yeah.
Oh, where are we going? Set the brown.
Hello, my name is Curtis Gillen. I am the movement and puppet consultant at The Old Man and the Old Moon.
They were animals, doesn't mean they couldn't have been men. Oh, let's go down to Bremen, take my part.
I think play is the center, it's the heart of a PigPen show. It is how we were founded. We met at Carnegie Mellon, 7 freshmen who had the opportunity to create a show for a festival at school. And we didn't know anybody else at school because we were freshmen, so we knew each other. And we decided to make something together. And that first day in the rehearsal room was 7 young men playing together. We had the tools, like we were at acting school, so we had all this technique that we were learning, but also I think it was all of our inner childs were attracted to the other inner childs, and we just played really nicely. I think if you ever see a group of kids in the woods playing well together, there's magic there, and I think that is how the magic is created, is this sense of imagination and giving and taking, like as an ensemble, a good ensemble should.
It was part of the plan, everybody.
Early on, we discovered that puppets were a great tool in our toolbox because we like to tell stories on the grand scale. Like we like to tell folk tales that have monsters and witches and journeys that travel over the ocean and through mountains, but we didn't know how to do that, but we found early on that using like pizza boxes, and we cut them out into triangles, and we showed a flashlight behind it, we were able to transport the audience to these mythical and fantastical places. We were limited by what we had at the beginning. We had flashlights, we had a clip light, and cardboard, so we used those to our advantage. I think we all had some sort of background in puppetry. I think I really was limited to playing in the woods. That was my first stab at puppetry. This rock is a character, and I say it is because it's there. As we continued to develop more and more shows, we were lucky enough to meet some incredible designers, and they have grown with us throughout our career. The puppet and scenic designer for the show was Lydia Fine, and so Lydia was in the room with us from early on as we talked about what the show was becoming and the characters that we wanted to have. Lydia was able to respond in real time to those sort of questions. So we knew that we wanted to have a dog, so we played with a bunch of ideas. I remember there was once a burlap bag that we used, and it had some weight and lift, and it felt right, but it wasn't until I think Lydia discovered this bottle shape that it has a great outline, a silhouette that I think anyone can see that and easily, say, well, that kind of looks like a dog's nose, and especially with the cap on, it helps tell this story. I think we discovered that Mop creates that really shaggy dog character look. And, adding some ears to it and a handle on the back, our puppeteer is able to really, easily start to bring this dog to life. Lucy that's her name, Lucy. She's a crowd favorite, and I think anyone who comes to see the show will know why. But, I think the spirit of puppetry for us is really you create the outline of the thing that requires the audience then to fill in the image. So it actually is a participatory sort of event. The audience is engaging with the show in a way that maybe they wouldn't have if we brought a real dog on the stage, which would be great, but a very different show. I think through play, we're able to make something out of nothing. That is how a mop and a Clorox bottle becomes a dog. The audience gets to lean in and participate and imagine with us, and I think that creates warmth and inclusion, and you're then transported into a more intimate setting. You're back in your living room. And your mother is telling a story to you at bedtime. Those feelings of story and community is achieved, and it's really fun to make something out of nothing. That was not a dog. Anyway, yeah. So that is puppetry, and we enjoy it. I came across some robbers three. At first I took everything away from them. Then they took everything away from me.
I'm Stuart Carden, Artistic Director of Kansas City Repertory Theater and Director of The Old Man and the Old Moon.
Isn't it just like the sea to come between you and me?
The Old Man and the Old Moon is a piece that I've lived with longer than any story in my career. I've had lots of works that I've directed 2 or 3 times that might have traveled around the country, but this piece and this story and this ensemble, I've been living with this story and continuing to develop it for, we're at year 7 or 8. And so it's one of my signature pieces because I've been exploring it for so long. It also is one of my signature pieces because it brings together some things that I just love. I love the immediacy of direct address storytelling, and this has at its heart a connection between audience and performer, that we connect and bring the audience directly through it by speaking to them and bringing them along the story. Through the story, it also brings together a lot of different modes of theatrical storytelling. There's a lot of exciting physical movement that tells the story. There's found object puppetry, so objects like you see around us. There's also traditional puppetry, found object puppetry. There's shadow puppetry in the piece. Mm-hmm. And the other really critical part, 2 other critical parts of the storytelling are Foley, which is using sound effects to activate and create the atmosphere, as well as music. And so all of these multidisciplinary and also multimodal way of storytelling is really part of my signature work as a director. I love to bring together these different types of storytelling that activate the audience's imagination and asks them to experience the story in different ways. And so that's the other reason that this is, I consider this one of my signature pieces of theater. I actually taught the ensemble members, there's 7 of them, when I was teaching at Carnegie Mellon University, and the ensemble took a class with me, a collaboration class. So I've known them for 15 plus years and have developed a really close relationship with them. I jokingly call them my bro sons because they feel like both my brothers and my sons. And we've had a really extraordinary collaborative relationship. It started there when I taught them. And then after that, I've been keeping apprised of their work and really interested in them building what I call lo-fi, high imagination, music-driven work, and had been keeping apprised of their work. And then they had their first full-length piece, which turned out to be The Old Man and the Old Moon. And they invited me to come and experience it. And so I did. We went out for drinks afterwards to talk about the piece, and we immediately started collaborating and working and talking about what was working in that version of the story and how they might develop and build it. And that led to some conversations that culminated in a second production that the heart of the story was already there, but we really radically re-envisioned what key story we were leading into about the moon, how it came to be in the sky and wax and wane, and connecting that to the heart line of the story about the old man and the old woman. They're one of my most continuous collaborators and artists that inspire me and really reinvigorated me in terms of the type of work that I love to do, and set me off on a trajectory of exploring music-driven and interesting concert music intersections with theatrical storytelling. So that's the short version, honestly, of what has been a really extraordinary partnership with the ensemble of PigPen Theatre Company. So this is a new initiative starting with The Old Man and the Old Moon at KCRep that is committed to creating all ages or intergenerational theater experiences for audiences. So this year, it's The Old Man and the Old Moon. Next year, as we announced, it's a new adaptation of Peter Pan called Peter Pan and Wendy. That's a new Peter Pan for a new generation. And we're really interested in expanding who we serve at KCRep in a lot of different ways, but one of those is creating opportunities for audiences to have an intergenerational theater experience, for families to be able to come and experience theater together. And the reason I think that's important is, and a valuable experience is when you've got different generations connecting with a piece of art that is genuinely made to span the ages from 9 to 99, to choose a random spread of ages. When you've got audiences that are engaged and accessing different aspects of the story, the theme, the experience, you are getting a different experience in the audience. And that type of intergenerational experience can only happen in live theater, where we're all in the room together, experiencing a story and perhaps learning or being inspired to learn something else about the story or yourself by the way other audience members are reacting.
Sidestep the creaks and the cracks of my broken smile. Light me a gate for my path if you'll stay a while.
So I think audiences should come and see The Old Man and the Old Moon because, first of all, it's the first show that I'm directing on Spencer Stage at KCRep. And I've been waiting a long time to share this singular, inventive, really joyful, and adventurous piece of theater with audiences.
I think it's a beautiful story. It speaks to a lot of themes that I think we've all felt in the last couple of years. You know, things like change and stagnation and how to break yourself from a cycle.
And this ensemble is incredible. They really are beautiful and are finding new, surprising elements to the story that, you know, I've been part of the show for over 14 years of my life that are even surprising me. So I think it's a really exciting time to see what the story is now.
One of the things that I've learned after years of sharing this production and experience is that it leaves audiences in a place of playful creativity that I find really inspiring. That the energy that this show and the experience of the show transfers to the audience, you take home with you. And you might be a little more playful with your family or partner or friend in the car ride home, or you may be inspired to go home and grab some objects from the garage or basement and turn on a flashlight and activate some of the theatrical shadow puppetry that we're doing in the show. But I think audiences should come and experience the show because it will leave them in a space of creative inspiration. And that's a special thing that I want our Kansas City community to experience.
This is the first time that we are taking this story and putting it in the hands of a group of incredibly talented performers who aren't us, and by us I mean the 7 members of our company.
I think there's some magic to be found with this specific ensemble that we brought together with, they are so diverse and from different corners of the country, and bringing it here to this landlocked state, I think we could use a little magic and a seafaring adventure.
If she is the wax sealing up, then I just give in. So string out the planks and plug my purse to pass. She'll sharp shine the dimes from my eyes, and I won't come back. I crash on the board. I crash on the board.
I am so looking forward to seeing you at The Old Man and the Old Moon at Spencer Theater, and I can't wait to see you there. Thanks for joining us.